Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Test Chamber. I am Joe Juba. I am joined by Brian Shea.
Hey, everyone.
And we are playing some Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition.
All right.
I am talking and playing at the same time, which is not always a great idea for me.
Especially games like Devil May Cry, where it's all about like chain together combos and being precise with your attacks.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough, but I'm doing my best. The reason we're here playing Devil May Cry right now is that we are showing off Virgil. So this is the special edition of this game that comes with 3 new playable characters.
Oh, wow. 3?
Yeah, 3, of which Virgil is 1. We also have Trish, was in Devil May Cry 1, I think playable in 2. And then there's Lady, who's playable for the first time in the series, and she first showed up in DMC 3.
And then we also have Nero and Dante from the original release.
Right, Nero and Dante. So the way they have this set up is that, in case you haven't played DMC 4 before, the missions are basically kind of split in 2, where you control Nero for the first half and Dante basically for the second half. Virgil does not have that split at all. He handles all of the missions himself.
Huh.
Whereas if you're playing as Lady and Trish, they have the same split that Dante and Nero do. So Lady handles Nero's missions, and Trish handles Dante's missions. Whoop.
So, I mean, maybe it's been a long time since I've played this game, but did it look like this good when it came out in 2008? Like, is it a significant upgrade? Like, I mean, this looks pretty good for a 7-year-old game.
Yeah. So I remember. Okay, so this definitely does look better, but I actually remember it. I don't know if it was necessarily 60 frames per second before, but like I remember this game running pretty smooth back originally, even. But for sure in this version, you still have visual improvements. I know the resolution is better, stuff like that. We've got Virgil here, who is you can see is based on his Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition incarnation.
Okay.
He's got the blue coat. He's got oh good, I have some devil trigger going, so we can show off like his devil transformation's the same, which is pretty awesome. And because he has to do like all of the Dante and Nero stuff, he does have an analog to like Nero's Devilbringer, which is he can basically teleport using his swords.
Huh. So we're gonna see a little bit of that here? No.
I thought so.
You're just shooting them up there. That's all right.
Oh, wait, no. That's what I'm doing wrong. Hold on. There we go.
All right.
Okay. Sorry. So you get to do some cool teleporting stuff. It's not quite as... it doesn't quite give you the same level of mobility on the battlefield that Nero's Devilbringer has. It's a lot more... like Nero, I feel like on the gameplay front, was more of an evolution of what Virgil was in DMC 3 Special Edition. And Virgil still plays very much like he did then. So, take that for what it's worth. It's not like... I don't want to like make it sound like he's not fun to play, because he totally is. And that's one of the things that's from my, the time that I've spent playing this game so far, is that like each of the new characters kind of bring something fun and new to the DMC4, the whole like DMC4 combat thing. Virgil, what we're not getting a good taste of, because I'm talking and playing at the same time, is the fact that Virgil has this like concentration meter, which you can see in the upper left there a little bit. And basically, the better you play, the stronger Virgil gets. So the more you run around, you can see that blue meter going down, right? When I'm like running around like an idiot. Basically, so that means that the less precise you are, the weaker Virgil gets. And so if you start whiffing attacks, that gets to be a problem.
That's kind of a cool little slash attack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does tons of cool stuff.
So the difference in the nomenclature here is that we have DMC Definitive Edition and Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. What's the difference between definitive and special?
Oh, okay. So the DMC that came out earlier this year for Ninja Theory's reboot would be like a definitive edition in that it's basically the same game with a few little tweaks and stuff.
Okay.
I think the distinction for a special edition, which is like terminology they used for DMC3 when they added Virgil as a playable character way back when. I think the difference there is just that like they're adding whole new characters, so it basically has a whole different feel to the gameplay. You can go through and get a more drastically different experience, I think, as you're playing as Virgil or playing as Lady and Trish. Versus, just sort of appreciating that, like, oh, this turbo mode is nice, or which I also don't mean to put down DMC, the definitive edition.
Well, it's a newer game, so they didn't have as much time to tinker around with it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Came out 5 years after this one.
yeah, but man, I feel like I am not doing a great job just showing what's cool about Virgil here. He's got the summoned swords.
That's cool.
Oh, you can use his devil trigger to like bring that going on.
Get jelly beans.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he's just Virgil is definitely for a more precise player. I feel like if you're a less precise player, to put it diplomatically, I think Lady would be a good choice.
So have you played around with all the characters?
Yep, I've played around with all of them. We can only show Virgil in the video, but
okay.
Lady is focused a lot more on long range weapons, and so she has like a bazooka, and so it's a lot more explosive. There's less finesse to it, but what's cool about Lady is that she's more along the lines of I'd say like she uses guns. Right,
okay.
like long range stuff, and the reason that's important, from my perspective anyway, is that like this is a series that's always excelled in that sort of like in the melee combos, right? Like it's
definitely
it's had guns, and the guns definitely have their place in the way this game works. But if you ever see anyone just like sitting there hammering on their handguns all the time, you're just like learn how to actually play because they do crap damage and they're not very stylish and all that stuff. So that's part of what makes Lady interesting, I think, is that like they've made her bazooka actually be like powerful enough to justify to making that ranged approach a viable one. Her melee options are actually really slim. So you have to get good at these sort of like area of effect blasts and charge attacks and stuff like that.
But at that point, is it really Devil May Cry?
Yeah, because there's still enough sort of skill and chaining of your abilities involved that it definitely feels different. But I mean, yeah, that's a good point. It feels different from the Devil May Cry that you might be used to, but it's still it's still a fun way to approach like familiar content. You've probably played these missions before, so. Yeah,
and what about Trish?
So Trish, I'm just going to skip this stuff here.
That's a good call.
Trish is interesting because unlike the other characters, so I haven't even done this yet. So Virgil can switch weapons. He has the same weapons that he did in DMC3. The gauntlets and the sort of the force edge.
I didn't play a ton of DMC3. That was the first game in the series I didn't beat. But I like the gauntlets. Like I like that he's just like beating the crap out of them. Like,
yeah. The gauntlets are a lot of fun. And the other thing to know. So what I was going to say about Trish is that she doesn't switch weapons like Virgil and Dante and Nero. So that makes her moveset feel a little bit crowded sometimes. But it also it just makes her really versatile and fun to play. Also.
All right.
So anyway, I think that's probably about. That's the broad strokes. that covers the basics. Hopefully,
gives me a good idea.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a chance to play through the game and give you the full review coming up shortly. Until then, thanks for watching.